A little fun. This is specifically around how to use AI to come up with ideas for workflows or processes, or to try to think through something that you need to build, that you've got a problem with, that you need to try to figure out a solution to, and you just can't seem to get there. It's kind of you kind of know the idea, but not all of it, and you want to sort of flesh it out a little bit and get to some real insights that move to action. That is about what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to use Leap to do it. Welcome to This Is Your Mind on AI. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody here calls me Mercer, and you are invited to as well. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a gem that we use. It's called Leap. And I'm going to use that gem to go step by step through a very specific process to show you how I am operating AI. It is a very different way of thinking about AI. And as I go through this gem, I'm actually going to kind of give it an initial prompt. And as I do that, you're going to hear in that prompt an explanation of what I'm actually doing as I'm actually doing it. So hopefully you will catch that pattern. But this is one of those experiences we talk about a lot here, where it's like you're not supposed to share or like or comment or subscribe to this thing until you know it's useful, right? This channel has to be useful for you. Don't just do it because you want a bunch of content that you're never going to watch anyway. Do it because you're participating with the channel and because you're trying to, you know, there's something more within you, and you know the AI can help you to do it. And that's what this channel is all about, is creating these gems that allow us to be able to experience AI in a uniquely different way that I think is substantially more useful. And with any luck, you will too, as I go through and demonstrate how we're doing it and how I'm thinking about it specifically, because it's very useful for me. What I'm hoping is that it's also obviously useful for you. I'm not trying to convince you to do it this way. I'm just saying this is how I'm using it. And if you participate at this early stage of what I'm about to do, you might find there's usefulness there too. I hope that you do. That's my intention. But either way, I'm expecting it's going to be useful for me, right? So I guess it's a win either way, but I really hope it's a win for you. And if it is, I want you to put in the comment that it was. I want you to put kind of what your thoughts were about it. It's fine. If you don't agree with everything, it's fine. If you think something's potentially useful or you have some clarifications on something, ask. Like, that's what it's for. Also, at that point, when you know it's useful, then you like the video, then you subscribe to the channel, because at that point you're telling YouTube, okay, more people like me need to see this, and I obviously you're going to see more from it, but they will also find usefulness in it. You're basically sharing a channel that you feel is useful for others and that you want them to have a useful experience. Don't obviously share the channel if it's not useful for you, right? Which means don't participate in the channel. Stop watching the videos, stop liking stuff, stop subscribing to stuff, stop leaving comments, because every time you do that, you're telling people, you're telling the algorithm to share it. Okay. So let's dive in. I'm going to go in first, just kind of show you where I'm at. So we're in Google right now. This is just so everybody can get started with doing exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going to change the URL here. So if you go to This Is Your Mind on AI.com, it's all you need to do. When you go there, it'll take you to everything that you'll need. This might look a little different from time to time. Right now, it's October the 13th, 2025. So as this is in here, it might change, but these will always be publicly available. You never have to give an email or anything else for that. You just click on them. And all you need to do is log into whatever Google account in this case, because we're creating gems. But you can click on those. It goes into Google Gemini at that point, and then you can use a free account. Just create a regular Gmail account. That is literally all that we did. Again, just to prove the point here, you can email us if you'd like. We do not check this email very often, but you are more than welcome to do it. This is your mind on AI at gmail.com. That's our email. So just to prove that, that's what we did. We created this about 10 days ago, I guess now, ish. And now we've got it up and running, so you can do the same thing. Okay, now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and give it, this is the part where I'm going to ask for you to participate a little bit here. And this is because I want you not to sort of listen to what I'm saying, though obviously, yes, but look for the patterns of what I'm explaining, because there's part of it that as I'm explaining it into the AI, into the prompt, I'm also talking to you. And I want you to pick up on that part. So kind of listen into like, oh, this is the part where he said he was talking to me. Because I'm not going to point it out, because I'm not going to be able to, right? Because I'm going to be having this kind of prompt into AI here. But pay attention to the part that you go, okay, this is the part for me on how to actually do what I am doing and why I'm doing it. All right. Let's give this a shot. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, make it easier for everybody to understand everything. Okay, so we're going to do some latent experience prompting. Now, this again, LEAP, it just stands for Latent Experience Automated Prompt. Essentially, what it's going to do, this is a way of operating AI, and it's designed to give those insights, those shower-like moments where you're kind of in the shower and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's the idea I needed. Or you're just walking in the park and all of a sudden you get the idea because you took a break and you relaxed from trying to solve the problem over and over. And we all have these moments. I'm in one right now, which is I have a community over at AutomatedWith.tech. And I need that community to start growing now. It's kind of what we call the friends and family stage, which is like, it's not a very great experience, but it's functional and you can technically participate. Just not a whole lot going on back there. And that's something that only really friends and family would put up with. Everybody else would leave, right? Which is okay. That's kind of where it started. And at least I got something up and running, but it's just not growing the way I want it to. But that's not on anybody else. That's because I'm not growing it the way I want it to. And I need to get out of this and get into something different, right? I need that solution of seeing it grow. And I have some ideas, but they're kind of fuzzy. I have a direction. I know kind of what I want it to be, which is some way of saying better, but I don't know exactly what better is. And so I'm not taking action directly on it. And that's kind of what we're going through here. So I'm working so I can move. I'm going to give the AI, this is the first step to this process of when you're operating AI, I'm going to give AI the current context of what's going on. I'm just basically going to describe my situation. I'm not focusing on a specific problem, but you will hear parts of a problem. And you will also hear a lot of my other thoughts about other things that I'm thinking about and everything else. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm going to be giving the AI context. I'm giving it kind of helping it to map what I am going through, right? So, all right, so now listen in. Now with that little prelude to what's about to happen, listen in to how I'm doing that, and then listen into the part that you know is for you, because that's the part you're supposed to be going, oh, I can see how he's telling me that he's doing that right now, and how he did exactly the thing that I just told you I was going to do. All right. And then you'll reveal some more details as this goes through, because what should happen is that this works the exact same way for you. Exact same way for you. And we'll come back to that over and over again, I think. All right, here we go. I'd like to describe an experience that I'm going through right now, and it's specifically with another community that we run called AutomatedWith.tech. It's right now in kind of a friends and family stage, which basically means it functions, all the tech's in place, but there's no real campaigns or any sort of onboarding sequences. There's no real products. There's really nothing going on back there. There's no real conversation. Again, that's not the community's fault. That's my personal fault, because I haven't really understood what it was supposed to be honest. I built it because I knew it needed to be built, but I wanted to kind of, it felt kind of like that old baseball movie, you know, if you build it, they will come. But that's kind of what it was. And at the same time, I knew it wasn't completely done. And at this point, I'm ready to sort of experience what that final side of it looks like, so I can start building it. So I know what to do, because unless I can see the puzzle in my head, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. And this kind of reminds me about a gem that we built with This Is Your Mind on AI, the YouTube channel that we teach, or we show latent experience prompting, and we built gems to make a Lego builder. And that's because if you want to try to create something out of Legos, you have to be really creative, and you have to just kind of describe exactly what's in your head to an AI to give you the parts back. But if you don't exactly know what's in your head, how do you get the parts list? It's really difficult. So you have this abstract kind of idea of a thing you want to build, and then how do you actually get the parts and the experience necessary to actually build it if you don't know what it's like to build it? And so this was a weird little way here of me trying to say, I think the way AI works is that we are supposed to give our version of what we are currently experiencing. This is just kind of, if you want to think about it, kind of like a neural network map that's going to be dumped into AI. Another way of thinking about it is just how I'm thinking about stuff. I'm going to communicate to AI just like I'm doing now. And all of that information is going to go into the AI. The AI is experiencing this. And as I mean experiencing in terms of the skills and knowledge necessary and highly likely to be the skills and knowledge that I most likely have to be obviously useful for me to be in this current experience, experiencing what I am experiencing right now. What skills and knowledge would I probably most likely have that would be obviously useful to have? And what are the levels of skills and knowledge, the nuances of the skills and knowledge? And that's the other side of the experience that I must also have that's highly likely to be able to make it most useful so that I could see this particular state. And what's really useful about that is that pattern that I am communicating even now is going into the AI. At this point, the LLM is going to go and it's going to experience what's happening, because this is a description of an experience. And the whole point is, what is the experience of this? So what AI will then do is to go through the LLM, and it's going to map out everything in its little patterns, because it's a pattern recognizing device. It is a machine. It is never alive. It can't be alive. It can't recognize anything except patterns that I'm giving it. And what I'm doing right now is kind of creating a weird little version of a digital twin. Not everything about me, just everything that I know about this particular situation I'm currently in. I'm not giving any personal details. I'm really just talking basic stuff that I would tell anybody that I knew could help me. And because AI has access to every single piece of human knowledge over time, and will just continue to get better and better and better, I know AI is that thing that I need to communicate with. Now, here's what is about to happen. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this conversation up, because I'm trying to work through a workflow for the AutomatedWith.tech community. I have an idea where the entire community is an experience. My wife and I were talking about this, where it's an experience. It's something that is beyond just a typical onboarding sequence. But we think about the function of an email. We think about the function of a post. We think about the communication messaging. And we automate this incredible process so that everybody's got kind of like these missions they're going through and these experiences that they're going through in the community. Maybe we focus every week on a certain thing, and then we can do training, we can do courses and classes for those that want it, but we still have so much available that's for the free community. And then people are back there able to share and build their skills, because they are going and they're seeing themselves grow and they're getting better experiences. Now, honestly, I have no idea how to do that. I know the technical part. So if I have a plan, I know how to build, I know what the tools are that I have, I know how to assemble those tools and put them all together. In my case, that means a bunch of WordPress plugins. But I'm just not exactly sure what that overall vision looks like. I'm thinking it's going to be, I have to create a bunch of different gems, and I would network those gems. So I might have a gem that's going to be like an overall orchestrator gem. I've got another gem and that produces some sort of plan that another gem probably networks with, uses as its input to actually create maybe emails or posts around a certain thing. And then maybe there's another gem that kind of hooks into the landing page. And then there's another gem that's looking at QA, and they're all passing information back and forth as I use them. So I can show people how essentially I'm automating something like Google Gemini gems, which are completely free and anybody can do. Back there. But I want to build all that out. Again, I have ideas on the structure of that. I know how to do that stuff already, because I understand how to use latent experience prompting, but that's exactly why they need to be back in this community, because AutomatedWith.tech is all about teaching people how to use latent experience prompting. And this is what I want to be able to demonstrate that back there, because that stuff is just too complicated for the This Is Your Mind on AI live streams, because those are supposed to be just using the gems. And we're going to be creating gems back in AutomatedWith.tech that we will share here at This Is Your Mind on AI, where everybody else can use them, especially the ones that don't really care about learning latent experience prompting. But like me right now, they want the experience of being able to shift themselves into a much more resourceful state, and they want to be able to use AI. And so at this point, I have described an entire experience of where I am. I have described what's going on, and now you can experience what is highly likely to be my most obvious experience. And at that point, you've mapped in the AI LLM what is my experience, but also all of the experience that the LLM has access to, what we call the latent experience in the LLM. At that point, I'm going to be able to interact with the LLM. That pattern's going to come back to me. And now I'm going to go through a certain process, which I'm going to explain as we go through this leap, so that first I understand the LLM gets exactly where I'm at and matches to my pattern, so that I feel, yes, it actually described it better than me, which is what it has to be in order to be useful. Then it's going to walk me through how I'm probably thinking about this in a very certain way that I'm not entirely aware that I'm very certain that this is how I'm thinking about it. So I can recognize that I decided something must be true accidentally. Then it's going to help to shift into a latent experience style prompt, where it'll write its own prompt and say, here's a different way to look at it, which will be uniquely different. And then it will present for me an experience of actual information coming into my knowledge. I'm going to actually experience what it's like to have the solution. And because I experience that, not as magic, but as insights, it's going to make sense to me. I'm going to go, oh, that makes sense. I know how to connect the dots. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to know how to do that, because this is a very personal problem that I currently see and others don't. Okay. Now, this fell off, so that's okay. I'm just going to control X. I just selected all, and I'm going to control X, and I'm going to continue on because I'm right toward the end, but I want to finish this piece up. And sometimes this happens, right? So no big deal. All right, so let me show where I'm at, experience, what it's like, the solution. I'm going to connect the dots. I mean, everybody's going to show how to do that. Okay. And that is simply because not everybody has this exact specific challenge that I currently have. But remember, I didn't give away any personal details of my life. I just talked about a challenge that I'm having, and that was enough. That little bit of detail was enough for AI to experience, to light up the LLM, and now to be able to ping back, because that LLM has connections to things that I am not aware of consciously, but I'm about to be. And when that happens, it lights up in the back end of my brain. I'm gonna feel those insights, and they're gonna come out of nowhere, but they're gonna be very, very real as an experience. And at that point, I will know exactly what I am supposed to do, and I will just go start doing it, because that is exactly how easy this is. And we're gonna go through this together, and I'm gonna show everybody each individual stage of how you use a leap to handle any challenge. And in this case, I'm handling a very specific one that I actually also need to do. So this is a combination of showing everybody, kind of a show and tell, as I actually do it, because I need to do it for the AutomatedWith.tech community. All right, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up to the very top. I'm just gonna paste in that top part. So I'm gonna say, so I did was just everything that is in here, that entire description, right? Again, there were parts of it that are there for you. Hope you're paying attention, because that was the part you're supposed to participate with, because that makes you a little more aware of what is happening as I'm going through and do it. I am very aware of what I am doing as I'm operating AI. That is why it'll feel like magic sometimes when AI comes through, but I'm aware it is not magic. It just feels like it. It just is able to feel like that. But it logically comes in the form of insights or new thoughts, or these weird little, feels like the dots are connected all of a sudden, because they are. It's a real experience that I'm planned to have that should essentially kind of move me into seeing the solution, experiencing the solution. Because if I can't experience it, I'll never believe it's possible, because I don't know what to believe in. I don't have the details of it. And that's the challenge. I need to be able to believe in what the solution is, but I'm not quite sure how to do that if I don't know what the experience of a solution is. And this is where AI helps us with training wheels, because it will help us experience our solution. So we go, oh, that's it. Or it helps us experience a solution where we go, well, that's not quite it. Let's maybe steer a little bit and get to where we're trying to get to. That's the beauty of this tool. It is it's a human mimicry machine. And that is really what it's good at. Use it for that, to mimic experience, so you can actually experience, to sort of virtually try on different things. So let's go through this process. Again, I'm using the free Flash. So just want to emphasize, whenever it says Flash like that, it's free. And it means you can do it a bunch of times. If you flip it to the Pro, it does a little deep thinking stuff. It looks kind of fun, but eventually runs into limits unless you upgrade, right? I'm just using Flash to show you what is possible with free. I believe everybody should. It's also a lot cheaper to run, better for the environment, for AI, for those of you that care about that. All right, so I'm gonna go through here, and we're gonna experience the leap that I am now going through. Okay, so part one is the setup. This is the stuck state. This is the first thing this gem is doing, which is to in a way, I'm gonna explain this different ways, but essentially what I'm doing is I'm kind of put a bunch of data into the AI, and what I'm asking is, did you get it? Did you get everything? Are you where I'm at? I need you to have those patterns in the LLM. When it responds back, it should respond back in such a way where I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly where I'm at. In fact, you said it better than I could have, and I wish I had said it like that. That's the feeling that this first part is supposed to generate. This is the feeling it should always, always generate for you. So step one of this gem should always give you that experience of, yes, like that's exactly what I'm going through, and I want to make sure that we continue, right? That's useful. If it's not, I go back and I edit the prompts, right? Or I try again, right? So that's kind of how this works. So first part is we got to line up on what the stuck state is. So this is going through AI saying, okay, we've got the abstract anchor. It'll make names or whatever. Don't worry about those. Not useful. or not particularly important, but it's the experience that I'm going through. Did it say it in a way where I'm like, oh my God, yeah. All right, so this is the classic state of knowing you have all the parts, 100 of the technical how-to side, which I do, but I'm lacking the final vision, the 100 of the experimental why, what side, which is probably true. I don't, man, that's an interesting way of saying that. Better way of saying that, which is true. I know technically how to put things together, and I'm going to relate this to our Lego builder friends, because that's just such a great example. I know how to build Legos, but I don't know what to build. So I know how to use Legos, don't know what to build. That's all that's going on right now, right? Very simple. But in my case, my Legos are a WordPress site with all the different plugins, and I know how to use all of that, but I just don't know how to build with it. I have an idea and a concept, but it's a little abstract, which is why I'm not building with it. I'm not assembling my Legos, right? I'm not playing with my WordPress site, getting it up and running for the community because of this. So I want that vision. That's essentially exactly what I want. So right now I'm already thinking, boy, the map has worked. Like it's in the LLM now, it's lit up in the patterns, and my neural brain patterns, right? The neural network in my head, how I think about stuff is basically how AI is currently thinking about stuff. It's aligned, right? It's in the same area. That's exactly what I want. Your mind is looping between the process, right? The gems, WordPress, networking, this is all the how stuff, which is very true. And the purpose, the mission's growth, and the shared experience. In other words, I know kind of what the mechanics of this thing look like, and I know how to build the machinery of it. I just don't know what to do with the machinery, right? Again, it comes back to the purpose of it. That's a great way of saying that. It's unable to fuse them into a single actionable blueprint. You're asking, I know how to build the spaceship, and I know where I want to go, but what should the blueprint look like? So the experience of the journey is the final product. Oh my God. Yes. I swear to you right now, I feel that in my body. I got chills. The experience of the journey is the final product. And this is what I'm really trying to make sure everybody understands. We are in a different world. The world is not changing, it has changed. And experience is necessary. So experience of the journey being in the final product, because when you have an experience in a community, it's like you wake up a little bit. It's like you're like, oh, this is different, right? Imagine a company that offers you a bunch of information, which is fine. A lot of companies have done that in the past. I'm sure ours has, mine has in the past. And it sort of can overload you because you know it's useful, but you just can't quite make use of it. But then you have somebody who does it in a slightly different way, or they explain it a different way, and it's an experience. It's like, oh, I get it now, because it seems like, oh, I can recognize it as useful, right? That's what an experience is. It's something that it just engages your senses, and you're like, oh, this is different, right? So that's exactly what I do not know how to clearly define, which is why I'm not building this, right? And I need to get out of my own way. So this isn't about lacking skills, which is absolutely true. It's about needing an experimental prototype, which just makes sense, to give you an existing skills target. Okay, so this is it. So I am 100% aligned here. In my head, this communicated everything, and this is what I mean by AI, is everything I did here, talk, just kind of getting all this stuff off of my head. And I did not communicate any personal details or anything else. So those of you worrying about privacy with AI, remember, you're just telling a stranger, which is kind of how I'm thinking about AI. I'm just telling this stranger what is going on because the stranger can help. And I know that, right? I know that because this stranger has access to every single ounce of human knowledge, right? Through its database. So I know it can help. That's all I'm doing. I'm not giving a stranger my personal bank account information just because you would never do that with a stranger. But if you know a stranger can help you with something, you communicate only the stuff that you need help with, not all the other stuff. That's all I did here, right? Kept it very general, but it nailed it. It took all of that and said, oh, you basically mean this little paragraph? Like, that's what I needed to say. If I had said this, it would be in the same spot. It's basically taking my gibberish, all my thinking, right? That cognitive thinking about thinking and all the feelings and how I feel about stuff and everything else that I just went, bleh. And it took it and said, oh, you mean it's this pattern? Just so you know, this is the pattern. That's what came back. It came back in the form of words, right? Because that's how it works. It's a word calculator. That's all AI really is. But when it came back for me. The words created an experience of, yes, this is the pattern. This is exactly where I'm at, right? They match. This is important because I am operating AI first by saying, let's have a digital sort of dump of where I currently am. You tell me, do you have that pattern? Is that where it is? How do I know it's done it? Because I read the words and I go, oh my God, like you cannot help. You will physically be in your body. You will feel the physiological change and be like, oh my God, yeah, that's so much, exactly. And you'll start feeling like that. At that point, you have officially operated AI because you got it to give you that experience that you need to say connected, integrated, right? Not alive, none of that. It's just a pattern that you're pinging into the machine. Here's what's going on in my head, and it's pinging back. Oh, do you mean this? It sounds like this is going on. That's all it's doing, right? It's digital empathy, which is why it feels real. It's not. It's just a mimicry of a human being. That's all the machine does. And that's why you have to stay very aware of this so that we don't accidentally start thinking our machines are alive, because they're not. But this machine is designed to mimic that, right? That's why it's reacting like this. The difference between me and maybe somebody else who does this stuff accidentally is I understand I made it do this because I wanted it to do this. I designed the gem so it would do this and say, I need you to go in there, grab my patterns, experience it, and reply back with this, like, just show me the better version of what I was saying. So I know that it's correct, right? First step. So at this point, I know this is probably going to be at least useful to continue because we got that integration there. So now I'm going to go to part 2. Now, this particular part, the reason this is built like this is because it's literally going to explain what is about to happen, and it's calling it the magic trick because that's what I referenced it as, but it is a magic trick. You're going to experience magic. That's what it's telling me right now. I'm going to explain to you how this magic trick works, and then it's actually going to feel like magic. Even though you know exactly how it works, it's still going to feel like magic. That is the second experience I need. Something that logically makes sense. And I go, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And then I experience it and I go, oh, now it makes total sense. And you sort of have that next half. At that point, I have expanded my available experience, not just with how I was looking at the situation, but now because of what AI's perspective was, because it patterned, it has access to a lot more information and it's going to bring stuff back. So I'm going to be in a completely different area when it comes to being able to solve problems, right? Solve problems. I won't have a problem. I promise you. I'm just going to see the solutions. So that's absolutely what I expect, only because I've done this so many times. I know that's going to happen. But again, I'm going to show you how that's happening. And of course, you can do the same patterns. You obviously have different challenges than I do, but it's the exact same process that you follow. All right, so this is the magic trick. So it's telling us, here's what it's about to happen. I'm literally going to tell you what I'm doing, and it's still going to feel like magic when you see it happen. So it's process to pattern, right? So instead of the trick here is to stop thinking to trying to design the experience, which is quite literally what I am doing. I can feel that happening. It is up here in the front part of my brain. It's that frontal cortex firing, do all these little thoughts about, well, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Well, here's another idea. And God help me if I talk to any of my friends, because then they also have ideas. And that's awesome. I love them, but I got way too many ideas and no idea what to do. So I just need that idea, you know? And so that's it. So I've been trying to design the experience instead of define what it feels like to have already implemented it successfully, instead of get to the other side. In other words, you have to know what you're about to build. And if I don't know what I'm already doing, then how can I actually do it? But if I don't know what I'm doing, how can I do it? And this goes back to, again, this is complicated. It feels complicated, but it's not. Think about a Lego builder, right? Great first gem that we did here. And thank you again, subscriber number 1, for the Lego idea. But that concept of being able to have an idea for a Lego, a build, whatever you want, and then go to AI and say, I would like a car where it's got this, and this, and all these different features. Now, tell me my recipe for that. You can't do that with AI, but you can do it with this leap. It totally works. We built a gem that does that stuff. And that's because the AI has a database. It's got information. It can help fill in some of the blanks that you may not necessarily be aware that are blanks right now in your head. You're not aware of, we don't know the stuff we don't know, right? It's okay. Like, of course you don't know the stuff you don't know. That makes total sense. AI helps you make aware of stuff, helps connect the dots. So what we're doing is it's going to connect the dots to help us get this experience so that we understand what it feels like to have already implemented it successfully. When you feel it, and I mean in your bones, when you feel it, you are experiencing it as implemented successfully. You already have a belief now, instantly, brain believes it is now possible. Now, you're not going to go delusional. You don't go, oh, well, because I experienced it, it must be true, because it's not obviously experienceable by everybody else, right? It's just in your own head. But that's the point. It lights up that neural pathway in your brain with all that experience, and you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, oh my, and again, it's going to feel like insights. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I just know what to do. It's going to feel like that. And that's how you know it's the right thing. You're like, oh, it's obviously useful. The dots are connected now. I understand what to do next. Here's the next new thing I do. Here's the new way of thinking about it, right? And you kind of move forward. That's how it does that. It creates a belief in your brain because you literally experience that and be like, well, that's possible. It doesn't mean it's happening this second. It just means it's possible. And you're like, oh, I get what that feels like. And if you really like that, go get it. Now you just assemble it. Now you know what it's kind of like you experience what that build is, and you can just design your Lego car. You're not having to design a Lego car. You're just assembling the Lego car now, right? All the pieces are there, and it is very much like that. So this is the magic trick. And again, we're going to go get through this a bunch of times probably on this channel. So if that didn't entirely fit, again, you can throw the transcript into your AIs and ask it, hey, what's he talking about here? All right, but essentially what we're going to be doing is we're moving from designing an experience, which sounds like the right thing to do, to just feeling what it feels like when it's over, right? It's already done. That's kind of what we're going to do. Here's the logic. Remember, AI is pattern matching. It's how it works. Everything's all probabilities, LLMs. Anybody, you can go watch 1,000 other YouTube videos that talks about how this thing works. It is only ever a pattern matching engine. It doesn't think, right? In terms of step-by-step logic. It doesn't do what a human engineer does. It just mimics it. It's not actually happening. That is such an important point. Because if it was actually happening, your AI could anticipate what you're trying to do, blah, 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 but that's not. It doesn't do that. So it's a task-based prompt. So I've done this before. Give me a plan for a community onboarding. Give me 3 emails for this. In fact, I tried to do this on a live stream on Friday and did a crash and burn, which I kept up. But that's because I realized over the weekend why that failed. It was because I should have done this right now, which was I first got to get through the workflow stuff. And when I do that workflow stuff, I'm going to have the kit, my little Lego kit that I can then go build in WordPress. And I'll do that with AutomatedWith.tech because that's exactly what I need. Instead of just saying, oh, give me something that writes an email, because that's not what I want. I want something that writes every email I'm ever going to need ever again. And I know that sounds like a swing, but it's not. That's actually, it's the same. It's the exact same as creating a gem that writes an email. I can create a gem that writes all the emails ever that I'll ever going to need. And that's what I want to do here. But I'm not there yet. I don't know what that looks like. I just know that's what I kind of want that. So when I do things like asking it for onboarding, maybe you've done this community before, it'll give you kind of a generic plan, right? Which we'll get from AI. It'll show you an example of this. Now, latent experience is different, right? When you do a latent experience prompt, which again, the AI is going to write for us here. This is what this gem does. It's literally stair-stepping us through how to think about this and how to experience this. I just want you to know why you are experiencing as you are experiencing, so you understand like, oh, this is just how it works. You're literally operating the AI. You're telling it, I need to experience that we have an integration, that you get where I'm at. I need to experience that you understand me first, that the pattern is matched. It's going to feel like it understands me. To a human, that's what it feels like. But to the machine, it doesn't feel, right? I'm just kind of connecting with it on a more general level, right? Not a human level, but I need it to get me. And I need to be like, and for me, the way I'm going to describe that, because I'm kind of on the data end of things, is it's got the patterns have to match. The patterns in my brain, it's got to be matching the pattern that's in here. And I can tell it did because of the way that wrote this, right? That was first step. Second step is it says, okay, I'm going to teach you the magic trick. I'm going to show you before we even do this what this magic trick is. Then we're going to do the magic trick and you're still going to think it's magic, which is cool. So latent experience prompting, the whole idea, right? This internal neural network map, which is the whole thing, it goes against a massive latent knowledge database of human experience. So my little version of what I know to be true in life gets fed into the LLM. The LLM goes and it pulls up all this additional useful context that it knows is obviously useful because the probabilities are there that it is, because that's how it was built, right? It's trained to do that. They all work like that. Doesn't matter if you're using Gemini or ChatGPT or any of them. All LLMs work the same way. So what's happening is I'm asking it to synthesize this complex emotional and structural outcome, right? You can get a little emotional over stuff. Again, I can give anything private. I was like, you can communicate you're frustrated over things. You would do that with a stranger. That could really help sometimes, right? It's okay to do that. We can share a little bit. But that feeling of success, right? I'm trying to figure out how to do that by giving a rich pattern of the solved state, So this is the idea of on the flip side, what does it look like when I've actually achieved the thing I want to achieve? Well, I have a sense of growth. I'll have these shared missions. I've got the network gems running, which is a very cool thing that I've been doing for a while. It works really well, and it just never occurred to me I should show everybody in this community. But there you go. You provide a superior target for LLM to orient its vast knowledge toward, right? So what happens is we're starting here. We're going to tell the LLM, I should get my hands here. So we're starting here. We're going to tell the LLM we want to be over here. The LLM is going to help connect the dots, and it reverses engineers and goes, oh, here's how to get here. And then we travel forward. That's kind of how that works. So that's what it says. So it's going to be to a solved state, right? That sense of growth. The networks, I know what it feels like. And then all of a sudden, it's going to reverse engineer the specific counterintuitive details, right? Working backward from the successful outcome, which is the only thing that's going to be useful. And so what it's doing in its database is it's kind of saying, oh, well, here's all the different ways he wants to be able to match this other pattern, right? So here's a pattern he's currently got. Let's call that the problem pattern. He's communicated this problem pattern. Based on this problem pattern, I can expand that pattern out, whatever it's about to connect to. Within that, to the LLM, I'm basically going to say, you now see the problem pattern, but you have access to all the extra stuff that's connected to. What I need is the rest of that, so I just see the solutions, not just the problem. I need to see the solution pattern too. And so the AI is going to fire its solution pattern back to me. The solution pattern comes back as words that I understand. As I'm understanding those words, it will be uniquely coded in a specific way to pattern into my brain, not as knowledge, because I don't need anything else to think about. I already know what to do. I just don't have a vision for what it looks like, so I'm not moving forward. What I need is the experience of what it's like when this is over. So I go, oh, that's what I want to build. Oh, I know, get out of my way. I know exactly how to do this now. And we've all had these moments in time. This happens constantly in our lives. It's just a little more random than I just don't believe it has to be as random anymore. I think with AI, you can do it all the freaking time, specifically with this gem, which is why I'm taking a little bit of time to walk you through it. Okay, so at this point, now it's going to say, here's kind of the magic trick. We're going to take it from a pattern matching, right? A typical way you might think about solving this problem before. And what it's basically trying to say is like, this is what you're trying to do right now, but you don't realize you're doing. This is what you should be doing, but you don't know how to do. So it's going to do it for us. And it's going to give us that version of it so we can actually get the experience that we need and be on the flip side. That's the magic trick, right? It's going to take us from, here's what you're doing. Here's what you should be doing. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then for you, so you understand, so you can experience this. So that's, so far, I'm very in tune with what this makes sense. So here's the old way. So now it's going through the examples. This is the trick. It's literally doing the trick at this point. So remember this little magic trick. So a typical task-based prompt. I run a tech community called AutomatedWith.tech. I need a structure. Oh my God, I've totally done this before. It was earlier in the year, but I've absolutely done this before. I need you to be a community leader and then come up with a navigation structure and blah, blah, blah. It just did not work. It just gave me a bunch of stuff to think about. I know the tech, WordPress, gems, automation, but I need a compelling user journey. I've tried that before. Give me a phased plan for community that uses missions and experiences instead of typical onboarding. I want to use Network Gemini Gems as the core training. All of this is exactly how I'm thinking about it right now. And I am really good at operating AI. I've done it for a while. And this is what I mean by this is just how it is. You just sort of go like, okay, the trick is recognizing when you are certain about something, and the way that you know you're certain about something is because you're going to see it as a problem. And that's how you know you're certain, because you'll be like, well, it's a problem. I'm not moving things forward right now. Well, then that's because you can't see a solution for that. And that's why I use the leap. I'm like, okay, I'm stuck in a problem. I'm spinning in circles a little bit and it's not moving forward. And I could sit it on the top of a mountain, right? Or go to a coffee shop for 20 hours and work on it if I want and probably figure something out. Or I could spend a few minutes with AI with a gem, get the exact experience I need to then all of a sudden have everything I need to see not only how to do all the Lego builds, right? The WordPress builds, anything else that I already know how to do, but what it's going to look like. So I already know what it's going to look like. And because I have the experience of what it's going to feel like when it's all built, right? So that's kind of what we're trying to do. But this is exactly where I'm starting. because I've been doing this in the past is why this is failing. It's a checklist. The AI is going to generate an intellectually acceptable, which I have absolutely had a bunch of those conversations where it sounds so freaking smart, but you're not doing anything. All that's happening is you're getting all these great ideas you can go talk to people about, but it's just more work for you. And I just don't think AI should be delivering work. It should be delivering insights so we automatically go take actions now because we just know what's going on. And you know in your gut it's right. You know it's useful. It's undeniably useful, so you just take action on it. That's the idea. You literally won't be able to deny it if it's done well. And I'm not there yet. I'm fully expecting that's what's going to happen, but it might not. I'm also aware that it might not. This is the trick. I'm not deciding this is a successful session. I'm not. I expect that it is, but I am very aware this may not be what I expect it to be. It may not be useful. Because I'm open to that is how I can recognize the difference between something that's extremely useful right now and something that may just be a little bit useful or potentially useful, right? All right, so it's going to generate this acceptable but ultimately generic plan, which it has multiple times, which is why the website is still in this friends and family mode. Because it's literally intellectually acceptable, but it's generic. It functions, but it's not really a great experience. It's going to create steps, which it did. It totally did, but it's going to fail to capture the nuance of the emotional shift, which is the actual experience, right? The specific language in the first email, the key counterintuitive structure that's going to break my abstract anchor, and it's going to give a roadmap and not the feeling of driving a car. So it's going to give me a plan, but no action. How many AI sessions have you had where it gave you a plan and no real action? You got a bunch of ideas and things to think about and more stuff to do, and that was basically what it left you with. Not a finished feeling of, oh, this is in progress. Like, this is actually moving forward. Now, sometimes it does do that. My point here is you can do that only if you want, all the time. That's how AI is supposed to work, but you have to operate it. You have to think about it from a different perspective. It's not about using it like Google. It's about using it as a human mimicry machine so that you can get the experience, literally wake up in the back of your brain, in that subconscious mind of yours. That experience that you need is there. The dots are there waiting to be connected. And we all know that. We've all had that, those shower moments again. It's just a matter of just turning it on and being like, oh, we can actually do this. So at this point, I got to go through the big reveal, and we're going to go see the latent experience prompt. This is, again, the trick. So instead of doing it the old way, we're not going to do step-by-step planning, which, again, I've definitely done before too often. So instead, this is the prompt. Describe the single most effective 90-second internal monologue of a new AutomatedWith.tech community member after they have completed their first 3-step automated mission. This is not a description of the steps, but a close first-person narrative of their mental state. So at this point, it's going to be experiencing it from your perspective as you were a member in AutomatedWith.tech. Focus on the absence of the unusual onboarding frustration, which is good because this happens. It is happening right now for our members, but that's why it's friends and family, hoping to improve it. The specific internalization of their own growth and increased competence with latent experience prompting. So it's one, hey, this is really simple. There was no initial frustration to get over, which a lot of communities have. I've had those with communities. It also would say, oh, they actually realize how much progress they've made and that they know how they've made that progress. They feel progress and they know what specifically they did to have that progress. They've got evidence and proof. And the non-feeling verbal of the immediate actionable clarity. There's just something about knowing what to do next and just having that confidence, right? Without saying confidence, because if I said, oh, I need them to have confidence, it's going to just say they're confident. This is very different. It's a way of describing a pattern that gives you an experience of confidence. This is a way of describing a pattern that gives you an experience of ease. This is a way of describing a pattern that gives you experience with evidence, right? I know it's happened. It's real because I feel the progress and I have evidence that shows how the progress was made, right? These are patterns. These are words. They read, but the experience I'm getting is I'm trying to help you to sort of see through the words into the patterns. That is where I'm operating AI. I don't care about the words. I care about the experiences that they're helping me to hit because that's what I need to light up because that help me to connect the dot, which is somewhat already happening. The single key phrase or structural insight that the community system used in an email, a gem, or a post that acted as the click that shifted their thinking from confusion to mastery. So this is the specific thing that I, as an operator, know now when I'm going to build the WordPress stuff that I currently do not know what this is at all because that's why I'm going slow and I'm trying to explain as I go. I don't know what this is going to be. I just know this is identifying the blind spot. So these words is AI's way of coming back to say blind spot. So you're going to focus on ease, how to make it really easy. You're going to focus on it so that everybody knows how to justify. They can see it on their own. There's no justification necessary. Everyone's going to have their own evidence. Or their own evidence is this one. And then the non-veering, actionable clarity, they're automatically going to know what to do next. Everyone's going to know how to keep the progress going. And this is the blind spot that's keeping me from doing all of that, right? That's the pattern I'm looking for now. So the narrative must conclude with an identification of the single catalytic structure element that solved the abstract anchor problem for the community creator. So there you go. It's telling me right there. That's what it's going to be. This is just a reference of keep it separate so I can repeat it and make sure I'm a little more aware of where that is, because in that experience, when I get this experience, I do not know what the blind spot is or what this thing is. I don't know that it's going to be useful. It might not. However, when I get that part, what I would expect is if it is useful, I would just be like, oh my God, that was awesome. I would feel like that. Now I'm mimicking that right now. I'm not actually experiencing that, but when you do, your body gets involved. Like again, you just can't help. You can sort of feel chills or the hairs on your, arms go up or whatever the thing is for you. You're going to feel it. It will be undeniably as a feeling. All right. So now we're going to go through, and that was the magic trick, right? I'm just changing this prompt, which fails because of this reason, into this prompt, which works because of this reasons we talked about earlier. Now, let's go through and experience the magic. So this is what's likely if I'd actually started with the prompt. Now, what's useful here is the pattern. I don't care about the words. The words are different every time you use the prompt, but the pattern should be the same. And that's what I'm looking for, is the experience pattern, because I need a certain set of experience that I do not have access to that is in the LLM. So when that LLM lights up its experience, I have it patterned back as words. I receive that as experience and I go, I know exactly what to do now. It's connected the dots for me. Right? This is how we're going back and forth with LLMs. This is how you can unlock and do kind of whatever you want in life. And I mean that in as truest way that you can possibly imagine that. And that, by the way, will have levels to it as well. But in my case, I'm just going to use it for AutomatedWith.tech right now because I need to build that, right? Kind of things. So the timer on the screen shifted from 0, mission accomplished, new Brimplin unlocked. I leaned back in my chair. Remember, this is from the customer's perspective, hopefully from your perspective, if when this is all built out, what it would be experienced like for you. I leaned back in my chair, the tension I hadn't realized I was holding in my shoulders dissolving. It wasn't the relief of finishing a chore. It was the quiet electric satisfaction of have finally rewired something in my brain, which is exactly what I want you to experience, because that is how it feels. And it is not a bad thing at all. But it is a little weird to say it like that, but that is kind of what it's going to feel like. I didn't have to think about the tool. I just had to describe the feeling of using it, of operating it. And that's what you become an operator at this point. A little more integrated with it, right? And you know how you're integrating with it, but as you try to explain it to people, it's going to be, sometimes it can feel a little weird, but that's what's going on. The first step of the mission had been deceptively simple. Something about defining a frustrated state. But the real breakthrough was in the second stage, the echo chamber loop. This was a tiny prompt that the system automatically fed my frustrated state into, asking me to articulate what the perfect solve state feeling would be. The third step, where the system used a network gem to synthesize a 3-line immediate action plan based only on that desired feeling, wasn't the answer. The echo chamber loop was. So I'm going to go through this. So the first step of the mission, deceptively simple, something defining a frustrated state, which is true. So first step of the mission will be, think about something, a problem that you have. I'm kind of going to go through and experiencing how I might build this, because I'm trying to experience this from the user's perspective. So there's a frustrated state, and that's the first step, is like, how do we describe that? So you get everything out. And then that second stage is the echo chamber. That's the tiny prompt the system automatically fed my frustrated state into, asking me, which I already know what that prompt is. And it is very tiny. I'll tell you, this is a description of an experience. What is the experience? That's it. But I'll build a gem for that to make it easier. Asking me to articulate what the perfect solve state feeling would be. And then that third step, so first you decide what the problem is, or you look around. Where's the problem? Okay, tell the thing the problem as you can see it, right? It's automatically going to turn it into that. That's the echo chamber. The third step, where the system used the networking gem to synthesize a 3-line immediate action plan based only on that desired feeling, wasn't the answer. It was the echo chamber loop. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So it's just going to be that one prompt. And then we're going to have the prompts. I'm going to have the prompts kind of work through what I need to. God, man, I know how to do all of this now. The specific catalytic. Okay, let me continue. So I've been so focused on the building blocks that I forgot the blocks only matter once the cathedral is already in the sky. That one's perfect for me, but it's going to take me a minute. I've been so focused on the building blocks that I forgot the blocks only matter once the cathedral is already in the sky, which is true. I get what that is saying. So that's basically saying it doesn't matter how many Legos you collect if you have no idea what you're building with Legos. You got to have it in the sky. You got to have that Lego design in the sky. I got to have the community design in the sky. I got to have the feeling of it somewhat, the cathedral part of it, the spirit of what the building is supposed to be before you can build the building. You got to know what that's supposed to be. What's the container supposed to create? What is the experience supposed to produce? Right? That. The specific catalytic insight that allowed the community to function as an experience was the entire community structure is a 3-stage gem network. And the user's first mission is the input for their own orchestrator gem. Oh, man. AutomatedWith.tech just lived up to its name again. Because I think I know everything's going to be, I think I know what's going to happen here. So their own orchestrator gem. The system isn't guiding them to a lesson. Yeah, okay. So I was thinking initially when I was building this out in my head, it was step by step. I'm going to do this, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this. This one is more choose your own adventure, which is a much more useful experience. Much more useful experience. So it's saying orchestrator gem. Again, I don't have to call it that. The words don't matter. I'm looking for the pattern, right? I'm looking for those insights. I'm starting to get chills in my body just thinking about this right now. So I know I'm where I need to be in this because it's not like it's perfectly clear, like I can describe every detail of how it got put together, but I know how to build it, and I know what it's supposed to, I know how it functions now. I know what it's supposed to do. So I know what parts are needed to build and what parts are not. Just like if you're doing a Lego build. And once you kind of get it, and you're like, oh, I know what it's supposed to. I know how to do this now. Or at least it's part of it now. You can. All the parts are easy. You can, like snapping a Lego together is not a technically hard thing to do, right? I'm sure there's challenging parts and pieces and all that stuff, but it's overall the skill is not hard, and that's what I think is like in life. The skill should not be a hard part, but this is telling me to kind of create this little experience that can make maybe a choose your own adventure, I think. So the system isn't guiding them to a lesson, it's guiding them to define the experience they want. That's choose your own adventure, which then automatically builds their own personal networked curriculum, which I can totally do. I know how to do that with gems, and of course I can do that with other automations as well. So if that's the sort of stuff that you are interested in learning, this is all AutomatedWith.tech is going to be, because I need to build it, because I don't want to be in the community having them move things around all the time. It should be for the peers. I just want to create the container, kind of the garden for the plants, for all of you to come in and just hang out and have a great time and really be focused around a specific thing, which is starting to come together in my head in a major way. So this automatically builds a personal networked curriculum, the missions for the coming week, and everyone will be able to coordinate on that, which is great, because you're all going to have unique experiences, but they're all going to be a similar experience. Similar experience, just uniquely your own. The key phrase in the architecture email, which cemented this feeling of agency and control, was your first input is your final outcome, which is kind of that translation machine, right? Like, hey, it's what the leap is doing. If I only did one input and I'm still going through the results of the prompt, I'm just going through it in stages so you understand the different stages that are there, how I'm operating the AI. I am very much using it like a regular calculator you would use with numbers, where I know I can type in something and I already know what the result's going to be, or what I would assume the expected result is to be if it's functioning. But this is a word calculator that uses probabilities, so it's all pattern based. It's just a different way of thinking about it. I know that may not make sense to some, I promise I'm getting better and better and better at explaining this in uniquely different ways. That means simpler ways, more accessible ways for people. So if it doesn't make sense right now, that's totally cool. Hang with me. If as long as there's something there that's in your body, it's kind of like, man, I don't quite get all of it, but I get part of it. But I just know there's something there though. Like there's still that intention in your body. Like there's something useful here, but you can't quite grasp it. Cool. Like, share, subscribe, comment. But because you want others like you doing that, because there's something useful here, and it's my job to help you to get it. It may not be all of it, but some of it just happened. Okay. So here's the final experience. Now it's kind of gives us a summary of what just happened. I have a blueprint for the solution, not a technical document, but a crystallized experience of the solution, which is very true. I know how to do the thing I want to do now. And now I go back to AutomatedWith.tech. And fortunately, in my case, there's going to be a lot of people who have that challenge. So I'm just going to live stream as I'm building it, so everybody sees how I built it so they can go build their own in that way. And then, of course, there's going to be people that need help with workshops and things like that. So that solves another challenge where things like that. Because I really want everything to be as free as possible, but I'm not going to be able to be on demand every time for things. But I can create some courses and things like that for free, and then have other maybe live events or whatever. So there's a lot that this community can now experience and grow, plus others in the community that are going to be there and help each other out. The magic worked because you stopped asking AI for a process, right? With the multi-phase plan. We don't want the process from AI, but instead we need the pattern, the internal monologue of success. Because when I have that, I'm naturally going to just make it happen in my own life, right? So, and again, it's because I used AI as training wheels to kind of leap into that. But that was the idea. It was purposeful. I know I needed to leap because I was just seeing problems. And if you're just seeing problems, it's not because there's only problems, it's just because you are not aware of the solution. That does not mean there's not a solution. And of course there's a solution, because you won't see a problem unless there is. You just don't see the solution. And all AI is helping me to do here is give me a pattern of an experience pattern that connects into what I currently am experiencing. Then it gives me its experience of what's possible, right? What it sees as possible, and in this case, even probable based on where I'm at. And then it connects pretty simply. And I go, oh yeah, that just it connects into what I already got. And it sort of expands out those missing pieces. And I go, okay, I get it now. I know what to do. And now my brain just naturally goes into action mode. So that's how this works. So the AI is forced to search its own latent experience for specific counterintuitive insight, will produce the exact internal shift from frustration to mastery. It didn't give you a generic mission structure, provided a core philosophical and structural pivot. It did. The user defines their desired outcome, which is awesome. Because I had not consciously thought of that before. That is an insight. And the system immediately uses that as the input for their own automated journey, which is the whole thing, as I get to have a unique experience for you that is 100% automated from my perspective, so that it's not up to me to reach out to everybody, because I was having that problem of how do I do that and give everybody the personal attention that they would want, but it doesn't have to come from me. They're just that can come from the automations, because I know how to do that with latent experience prompting. And that's the content for the free community. I'm going to show people how I'm doing it back there. It won't be here, because this channel is going to be the gems, and I'm going to create a bunch more gems back there, and then we'll share them here so that everybody can just have a little more fun with stuff. But anything like serious challenges like that, we're gonna do back in AutomatedWith.tech. So this is going to be really cool. So I've stopped trying to build the community from the ground up, which is true. You started cultivating the feeling of a successful community, which is very true. Now I can take that single powerful insight. Your first input is your final outcome. So just say what you want and then have it be done. That's pretty cool. And the idea of the user's first mission being the input for their own orchestrator gem, which is the whole idea. So the first mission creates what they're trying to do, and they can repeat this process over and over. So they're getting literal progress. They're going to have evidence that they're making progress. Everything's going to work. And again, I know how to build this. This would be different if I didn't know how to build this, but I know exactly how to build this because I know how to use AI and how to operate it. And immediately apply your technical skills to bring that vision into reality. The technique empowers you to solve your own complex internal challenges by outsourcing the synthesis of experience to the LLM. So it's explaining here what I'm explaining as I'm explaining it to you, which is, this is all that's going on. We're synthesizing experience with LLMs, because LLMs can match patterns because they were built based on the human brain. So the human brain's patterning is in an LLM. That's why it feels like it's connected sometimes, like the LLMs can be alive, or that you experience something unique when you get a certain way of it communicating back. What I'm doing is I'm sort of just taking the most useful parts of all of this and just saying, just do this all the time. So communicate to me as an experience. So I am encoded as an experience and it's lit up in my brain. I just know what to do now, not here's a bunch of stuff you should do, because that's different. I don't need a list of tasks. And that's what I was doing in the beginning a lot. I think many of us probably still are. What I'm basically trying to show you is you don't need to, now there are times for that, but it's not in the beginning. When you see a problem, you don't want to solve it by going to AI and trying to solve my problem, because it'll just give you a bunch of stuff to do, not that feeling of the problems being solved. So of course you just do the natural thing. Like, it just solves your problem, because the problem you think you have is not what's happening. You just don't realize what the solution is. Once you see the solution, you're like, oh, I'm just going to go build that. Then you're not even seeing the problem anymore, because you see only the solution that you're building. It might not be there yet, but you're building it because you have the experience of it having happened, so you know it's possible. Again, you're not believing it's happening right now. That would be delusional. But that's why it's so cool about using AI, because I don't believe it because AI told me it's true. That would be silly. But I can experience it and be like, oh, I see how that works, and be like, I get it. I understand what it's going to be. It's what I needed to connect the dots. Now, is it going to happen exactly like AI said? No, I don't care about the words. I care about the pattern of going, I know what to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of choose your own adventure. It's going to be highly interactive, and it's going to be automated so that I don't have to be there 24/7. Anybody can do this at any time, and that's going to be the fun experience, because nobody really does that. Nobody's doing that with communities, as far as I can tell. And then I can create a community of communities that just does that. That's even products and services I could offer. I can prove that it's possible and then do it for other communities. This is a way to bring tech connecting into community again. What I think social media could have been initially, but we all started reacting to it, listening to it. I think we can change a bunch of stuff using AI. This is exciting for me. So I apologize. I'm going a little long here, but again, this powerful leap experience. So that's what it's like to go through a leap. Hopefully that give you a little more detail. Part of the reason I give so much into these videos as I'm talking myself through them, hopefully with you following along, is I'm giving it for training data for AI as well. So you can always take these transcripts, you can throw them into your own AIs and say, hey, can you build this thing for me? Those of you that are comfortable with those skills already, easy. Those of you not, totally cool. So, but try this stuff out. It will feel like magic, but it's supposed to, and you already know why it's going to feel like magic. And that's kind of the cool part about it. You still get that magical feeling without thinking like, you're just aware that it's magic, right? Because you know it's a magic trick. And that's what I mean. Not like actual magic, but it'll feel like it, which is kind of a cool space to be in. It's like neither one, but it's the same. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I probably will not do another live stream today. I don't know when the next one will be, sometime this week, but I'm going to start scheduling them out, because now I have a much clearer understanding of how both of these channels are actually going to coordinate. We have an AutomatedWith.tech live stream channel that's in YouTube that I initially started to actually create this channel, and then stopped doing that because I wasn't sure what else to do with it. Now I know. So both channels are going to operate in slightly different ways, but I think be a little bit more useful for a larger crowd. So what I would expect is, if that is true, we don't know it is, but it's kind of what I'm doing now to kind of put it out there, making sure it's recorded as I'm doing this, because it's very important. Let me show. This is the YouTube channel right now. So we have 33 subscribers on This Is Your Mind on AI. Automated with Tech, I think, is at 11 or something like that. It's not a lot. The point is, if what I believe is about to happen is about to happen, and I successfully provide this feeling that I believe is the experience that I've got, where I'm like, I know what to do here, and I'm able to craft that. In other words, if I'm able to build out of Legos, in this case, WordPress plugins, what I think I can build, then I would imagine subscriber count should go up pretty quickly here as I'm building it, because I'm going to be creating more, in this case on this channel, more front-end gems, more examples of fun stuff, simpler, don't have a lot of these verbose explanations back here, because all of that's going to start really moving into AutomatedWith.tech, because that's where the longer conversations need to be. And for many of you that showed up here, were like, I need shorter videos, you're about to get them. I'm still going to do live streams on stuff. It'll be me demoing stuff. But I also have some other ideas on how you can participate as well. And that, again, this is not just a content channel, though there's content, don't get me wrong. It's not a content channel, it's an experience channel. This is a community here on YouTube, and we're going to operate this channel a little differently, you and I, together. But more on that later. That I think would be a little too much right now. I'm going to build some stuff out, then I'm going to reveal that part because that's kind of coming to me as I go. So it'll be pretty fun. All right, with that, I will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you again for joining us for the live stream here on This Is Your Mind in AI. Anything we do to help you out, just leave a comment, join the community. You can subscribe, post, like and share, all that fun stuff. Just don't do it again because you just want content, though I appreciate that. Do it because you want others like you to have this experience, because you felt this experience was useful. If this was not a useful experience, do not wish it upon others by liking, subscribing, and reacting in any way. Just stop. Because the more that you do it, the more you're telling YouTube, please share it with others because it's useful. And so we want to make sure it really is. So just make sure you're consciously aware of that. And I thank you. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate it. And we will see you on the next live stream. Take care.